99. That's how many disc golf companies did not have an approved mold before 2020, but do now. Or at least that's how many did as of a few months ago when I originally made this list. Disc golf, though, is normalizing after the COVID boom. So the big question for these companies is, how will they stand out against all this competition? Well, that's one of the questions we'll be asking and hopefully answering about Stokely discs. These are our first impressions. Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six Sided Discs. Stokely Discs is a new brand of discs launched by its namesake, Scott Stokely. Scott is a longtime professional disc golfer who once battled alongside Ken Climo and Barry Schultz for world championships. He simultaneously held the backhand and forehand distance records and is well known these days as one of the most prolific business people in disc golf. From lessons, seminars, books, and even
the barbecue sauce.
As if that wasn't enough to make Scott Stokely one of the busiest people in disc golf, there's more. When we sat down with Scott on our podcast, All Six Sides, last year, he dropped a hint that he was working on something big for the coming season.
The thing I'm trying to do, that I'm trying to put together, is going to change the world. Like, it is that I'm so much larger than anything I've been doing. Are the things I'm working on right now and working towards. And if I do them, it's going to be it's a global game changer for the sport.
Whether Stokely Discs is what he meant by change the world, I'm not sure. But Scott is nothing if not an excellent salesman, hype man, marketer, whatever you want to call it. For now, let's talk about what we know about Stokely Discs. We know that they currently have 4 approved molds: the Wren, Cardinal, Owl, and Finch. And obviously that they're all named after birds. We have 3 of those today, while it seems the Finch has not yet been released. We also know that according to Scott himself, when I talked to him at Idlewild's meet and greet and bought these discs, these are manufactured by Stokely Discs themselves. We also know that they're taking a very popular approach to assigning flight numbers: crowdsourcing. Rather than Scott or an employee throwing the disc a few times and assigning numbers or just guessing based on the desired flight or wing shape, they're making prototypes, sending them out in the world, and then getting feedback from players about how the disc flies, and then assigning the flight numbers. And while they're not the first company to do this, it is a great way to connect with fans, and I think it's probably the most accurate way to get sort of flight numbers that work for most people. All of these things that Stokely Discs are doing are great. Connecting with fans, they're made in America. I have no complaints. But one of the challenges of being a new, unknown disc golf company is getting people to understand what your disc can do. Very few discs these days in disc golf are totally unique. They usually fly like something else out there on the market. So that's what we're going to try and find out. What discs do these Stokely discs most closely fly like, or are they totally unique? And we'll begin with the Owl. Described on their website as an approach disc, the Owl is rated at 4 speed, 3 glide, 0.5 turn, and 3.5 fade. And as a flat top, overstable approach disc, it's naturally going to draw comparisons, regardless of its shape, to some of the most popular discs in that category, like the Discraft Zone or the Innova Toro. But it should also draw comparisons to those because it does have a very similar wing shape. The Owl is currently available in their thermoplastic, which is a somewhat flexible premium blend. It feels similar to Gateway's premium plastics like Diamond that I've felt in the past. Off the tee, the Owl has exactly what you want from an overstable approach disc: stability. On forehand, it's fairly torque resistant and does get some reliable fade. And on backhand, it has minimal glide, and combined with its reliable fade, makes it an accurate approach disc. I think if I have any criticism at all, it's that the plastic is a little bit soft for my taste, and because of that flexibility, that made it a little bit hard to get a clean release on my forehand, giving me a little bit of wobble. I did bring a Zone along on this day to see how it would perform alongside the Owl, and for all intents and purposes, I think they fit the same slot very nicely. But of course, that means that the Owl faces stiff competition from some of the most popular discs in the sport, as nearly every single company has a Zone-type approach disc these days. Next up, let's go down in speed to see their putter, the Wren. The Wren is rated at 3 speed, 3.5 glide, with negative 0.5 turn and 1 fade. And the Wren is currently available in 2 plastics, their Thermo Premium Plastic as well as the plastic we have here today, their base Strato. And Strato feels excellent. I've said it in a couple videos recently about other base plastics, but it's this perfect combination, in my opinion, of stiffness and grip, which I think you could most closely compare to MVP's new Electron blend, or maybe Latitude 64's Zero Medium. Based on the flight numbers and the fact that it's in base plastic, I was expecting the Ren to be a little bit more understable than it says, so I brought along an Axiom proxy to compare it to. But off the tee, the Ren's stability caught me off guard. It wasn't until I threw it a few more times that I understood I could really throw it with some power, and then it would straighten out. But even then, it always found a little bit of low speed fade. In the end, I think the Ren flies a little bit more like a beat-in premium plastic Envy than a proxy, which is certainly not a bad place to be in terms of off-the-shelf stability. So if you're looking for a beat-in Envy, grab a Stokely Ren and slice up some tight fairways. Before we talk about our last disc from Stokely Discs today, I want to talk about one more thing: their commitment to retailers and pro shops. Scott is doing something interesting, and he is committed to not selling Stokely Discs on his own website, apart from the initial prototype runs. Instead, he's pointing potential customers to their local stores and retailers. And there are several reasons for this that he conveniently posted to his Instagram as I was writing this video. He wants to make sure you can feel the plastic before you buy it, so that you don't have to wait for it to arrive by mail, so that shops can make recommendations because they know their products. Shopping local also, of course, keeps you connected to your local community, and pro shops and vendors support local courses, local players, and local clubs, and so your support for them supports your local community. And as the owner of a small online and mobile retail store, I greatly appreciate Scott's support. But before I can receive that support by selling Stokely Discs, I'd love to know how interested you all are in trying them. So leave a comment below if you think we should stock some Stokely Discs. Finally, let's see our last Stokely disc, their mid-range, the Cardinal. With flight numbers of 5, 4, 0, 2.5, it certainly looks and feels like it'll be a bit overstable. Also coming in their thermoplastic, the Cardinal's shape is somewhat similar to the Buzz OS, but maybe a little bit more aerodynamic. And I have another overstable mid-range with somewhat similar flight numbers, but a totally different wing shape to compare it to, the Prodigy Archive. Off the tee, once again, the Cardinal is exactly what you want it to be: reliably overstable. Thrown flat, the Cardinal holds only briefly before a nice big fade. And on this particularly windy day, it never showed even a whiff of turn. It definitely fit in fine with my Prodigy Archive, which I do think had just a little bit more glide, but still reliably overstable. And so the Cardinal makes Stokely Discs 3 for 3 in delivering consistent flights, accurate flight numbers, and nice plastic. I love exploring new brands, and I hope disc golf keeps growing and manufacturers keep bringing new and exciting ideas to the market. But I do worry about some of these newer companies. 99 or more manufacturers didn't exist 4 years ago, didn't have a single approved mold. And within those 99, you have companies that are taking wildly different approaches. Some companies are partnering with established manufacturers like MVP or Gateway to produce their discs. Some companies that already had experience with plastics are simply diversifying into disc golf. Some are starting from scratch and from the ground up with their own unique approach. And some are focusing first and foremost on how the product is actually made. But is there a right way or a wrong way? And regardless of how they approach it, is there simply room for all of them in the marketplace? I guess time will tell. For now, Scott Stokely is leveraging the business experience and drive of himself, along with building a strong community of players and stores to increase the profile of Stokely Discs. So, to finally answer the question from the title of this video, should you be stoked about Stokely Discs? I'd say definitely more stoked than not. Have you thrown Stokely Discs yet? What did you think? Leave a comment down below. And also comment below what discs or brands we should explore next in our First Impression series. For Six Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in the next one. Whether Stokely Discs is what he was alluding to as changing the world, I'm not sure. But Scott is nothing if not a great marketer, salesman, hype man, whatever. Salesman. We also know that they're taking a popular... Hey, what's up, bloopers, people? All I gotta say is I had to throw 2 videos worth of discs. Kind of on short notice, because I realized I was going on vacation. And I think I underestimated how much work Caleb puts in, so shout out to you, Caleb. I look forward to you throwing in the next video. If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or supporting us on Patreon. Your support makes this content possible.